Hello, beautiful people. Oh my gosh, I am live here on Instagram and very excited to be here with you all. Is anyone in the house? I am excited because I want to bring on a very special guest. Here she is.
Oh, why is my phone turned?
Hey,
There we go.
hey, it's Janet, the plant-powered peddler and travel.
Mona.
Uh, yeah, Mona's on here. Travel One Now. And here we are on my channel today. And wanted to just talk to Janet about things. So, Janet, would you share with everyone a little bit about your background and who the heck you are, besides a very special lady?
I am Janet the Plant Powered Peddler on YouTube because I love to travel by bicycle. And um, I I came to the whole food vegan lifestyle because even though I pedaled all over the place, I still was overweight. And so in 2020, I got wind of the whole food community and listened to Dr. Greger and How Not to Die and decided to put it to the test. And I've never looked back. So I lost another 50 pounds. I've lost 90 in all. And I just love being able to ride my bike without so much weight on me. And I love to tour. And I stay whole food, 100%. No sugar, salt. Well, there's probably salt, but no sugar, no oil, nothing refined. Even though I'll travel into places like, national parks. So it's just wonderful. I love how I feel, and it just seems like I'm so highly nourished that to me, it feels more important than calorie density. The two things that I learned that really helped me were the calorie density and to eat lower calorie density foods and eat lots and lots of lower calorie density foods, and listening to the pleasure trap and learning that my brain isn't going to shut off, that it's still going to want to encourage me to eat high calorie density foods, and it's just going to be like that because that's the way it was brought up. That's the way it's wired. And I don't know, something about knowing that I don't have to follow it. I used to think I had to follow it, that it would talk me into things, but now I realize it's just old wiring, old programming. And sometimes I might listen to it in some ways, but always with a low calorie density food if I feel like I have to do that. So I have a whole spring and summer and fall plan of bicycle trips. And this year I'm going to do a 35-day trek in the UK around the Southwest Coastal Path. And I hope to stay whole food exclusive and even raw. I've been eating raw lately to help my skin, which is looking much, much better. And I'll see what I can do, but definitely stay whole food plan exclusive.
Yeah, and if people are interested in knowing, wanting to know more about you, tell us where we can find you. You just said Instagram, but can you share your handle, your
Yeah,
name?
actually in YouTube, what I just mentioned, and that's at Plant Powered Peddler, peddler being Pedaler. My Instagram is LUV as in Victor, the number 2 CYCLE Ricky, RICKEY. So love to cycle Ricky with an at, with the A thing in front of it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And we have, let's see if I can say this right. Purple Nurple Sploosh. I'm so glad you're here with us. And that's a fun name.
That's great.
Anyways, You know what? I wanted to ask you a couple of things. So, when you're traveling and the different was, I know that you had shared with me, I know before that you sometimes travel just by bike. You're not even having a car of any sort. Maybe you'll do a train or whatever. And so, when you're preparing for not using any other any other commute but the bike or maybe a train or a boat or something, how do you load up with food and how much food do you have? Like, does it last you a day? Talk about that a little bit.
It takes planning, but we map when we map our days, and yes, we call it self-contained, fully loaded. We carry everything on our bikes. There's no vehicle. It's so cute. People say, "Well, where's your cars?" We don't. There's no car. This is just us. So you carry all your tools, carry all your clothes. We carry the food that we're going to need for that day. So we have lunch on the way, and then every evening, somewhere between lunch and dinner, if possible, and I always map it out. I'll map out where the grocery store is going to be. Typically, it's close to where we're going to be staying that night. So we always do our grocery shopping when we can at the town that we're staying in. We get dinner, breakfast, and lunch, and any snacks that we might need. So we plan on stopping every day. And when there's not any place that we can stop at, like when I go into a national park, actually there's little stores in national parks too, I found out, with little produce areas in them. So I have made,
That's great.
yeah, I've been able to do quite well in the national parks. But if I don't know that there's going to be a place, I will pack food enough for as many days as I need. It's been as many as 3 days. We don't want to carry too much because we don't want the food to spoil. We don't have the room because our bags are full of all this other paraphernalia that we have to carry. So I keep planning. I map out the route. I find the place to stay. I I have things pretty planned out about 5 days in advance. So I'm always working today, 5 days from now. And I find hotels, I find rental trailers, I find rental units, Airbnbs, huts, um,
Wow.
cabins, everything I can find, I'll book for Stephen and I. So some the trips this summer that we're planning, they're already all booked. So they're shorter tours. They're maybe a week long. One of them is 3 weeks long. We're going to ride across the North Cascades Highway this summer. So we'll go from the west of the state of Washington to the east of the state. So Washington State from Seattle area to Spokane area.
That's amazing.
And then, yeah. And then there's another tour that's right at, the next day. There's the Forgotten Corner, which is Northeast Washington, which, I mean, can you think of a town in Northeast Washington? I mean, it's going to be gorgeous because there's nothing out there.
Oh,
It's going to be beautiful to ride in. Yeah. We'll even go up into Canada a little bit and then come back down. We'll do a big loop, and then we're actually going to rent a U-Haul, and some of us are going to, one person's going to drive out there. So anyway, we have to plan everything so that we can get to where we're going, and we can get back from where we're going, and we can get the bicycles back. And we're all older now, so we pretty much, for big tours like this, we ride the pedal assist electric bicycles. So that's our plan. Oh, Chef Lynn's here. Hi, Chef.
hi, Chef
Chef
Yin,
Chef
Rasha
Yin.
Yin.
Yeah.
So glad to have you here with us. And yeah, thank you for joining. And Janet, I want to know when you first were changing your food and you weren't really interested in restaurants or doing things the way you may have in the past. How how was that? How did you figure out what to pack? If someone's watching and it's new to them and they're like, okay, I want to do it like me. Like, I want to be like Janet when I grow up, right? How do you know, like, what was the trial and tribulations? Did you ever run out and like you now have mastered what you need, how long it will last you, and what to do? But going back to the beginning, is there anything that you could share that was a learning experience or anything that you can kind of remember about that beginning part of it with the food?
Oh my gosh, it's 6:25 in the morning in Malaysia. She just woke up.
Oh, oh
Oh, well,
wow. Oh my
thanks, Effie.
gosh.
You've been so busy lately. I'm amazed that you're here. But I've been touring since 1990. So I was already in a rhythm as far as what you need to eat. And you're right, Jennifer. A lot of people, she's doing her exercises. A lot of people are not, that aren't experienced, do not eat enough. They don't take into account all the calories that they're expending on the route. But I know how much I need to eat, and I do not like to go hungry when I'm trying to pedal. And of course, when we first started, we didn't have pedal assist e-bikes. So we've had those since, or did we? No, I guess we have, because we've had them since 2018, and we went plant-based in 2020. So we did have, that helps a lot, because you don't expend as many calories. But the nice thing about the e-bikes is you can carry more. So you carry more weight, because the bicycles, you can't even feel the weight that we carry. And we carry 4 or 5 bags on the bike with stuff in it.
And there's special type of bags for the bike, correct?
They hook right onto the bag, so that, because you don't want those, that you don't want them falling off when you're going 50 miles an hour down a mountain. So yeah, they're very sufficiently hooked onto the bicycle. So I really didn't, I would say, I would overpack more than underpack. And I typically will do that anyways when I'm on travel, because you never know what you're going to run into. So I always take plenty of food.
So when you were talking about you don't like to go hungry, and I don't like to go hungry either.
Yeah.
So let's say you were going to you were going to pack for the day today. Like if you were going to bring, like, can you give us a sample of what you would pack that would last you for just a full day? And
Yes, I
yes.
love to make a salad. I love to have a salad. And in that salad is all kinds of vegetables. I put fruit in it. I'll put raw corn in it. So I'll have avocado in it. And when I first start out, I'll carry a dressing that I've made with me. And then as the trip goes on and if I can't make dressing because I'm self-contained, then I'll use lemon. I'll actually buy a little bottle of vinegar that I can sprinkle on my salad, and I'll carry it in one of the pockets of my bags. So I mean, it always tastes delicious. I'll take sugar snap peas, jicama, and carrots for snacking. I'll take fresh fruit. Always we have bananas, oranges, apples. So I mean, I always have plenty of food, and it doesn't even have to be high calorie food. Now, Stephen, he'll take nuts. He'll take the raw nuts. He eats more cooked food. I really like to eat raw right now, and it's amazing how sufficient the raw is. It's okay. I have it, and I'm not hungry. And so dinner, I'll also do some rendition of raw vegetables, and I might make some guacamole so I can get some calories in there. And usually for breakfast, I'll have fruit. Whatever the store's got that's ripe, and hopefully in season, so it's good, so that it's tasty, it's got flavor. Because I've noticed that without a seasoned fruit, it doesn't have much flavor. And if we'll get frozen fruit too. Stephen will get frozen fruit and put it in his oatmeal in the morning. So he'll eat always a more sufficient meal. He needs more calories.
So are you concerned with it being on ice or anything like that in the bags? I'm sure depending on where you are. And also with the salad, are you concerned about, having the avocado or tomato or things that are kind of wet and could smush? Like, do you put it in a certain kind of container? Like, how do you do that? Or do you cut it where, when you're ready?
We cut it when we're ready. So we'll keep the avocados separate, and fruits, the tomatoes, I might keep separate. But if it depends on the weather. Here in the Northwest, it stays pretty cool, except for the middle of summer. Maybe 2 weeks, it might get too warm. That's about it. But I have a bag that a square 6-pack, the kind of cooler that people put a 6-pack of pop in.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
just fits a 6-pack. So I'll put my lunch in there, and anything that might be left over from dinner that we couldn't finish, I'll try to fit it in there. And I have a freezer pack, and I'll pack the freezer pack in the bag. And if I have extra stuff, because we're always buying salad material and raw material, so there might be more than I can fit in that 6-pack uh, cooler bag. I'll put it in my big bags, and it's amazing how cool it stays, even in just the regular pannier without any ice pack in it. So we just try it, and if it doesn't make it, then nothing's really lost. We just stick it in the garbage. But if it does, and oftentimes it does, I wouldn't do it more than a day. But like I say, we're in a grocery store that next day, so we can pick and choose and add or subtract, get less if we've already got leftover. So we just really try to keep using things, because of course we hate to waste anything. So
Yeah, and it sounds like you also rotate first in, first out kind of thing
yes,
too.
and we
Yeah,
get in
and
a
so
rhythm.
yeah, a rhythm. So most, I think most people, and I could be wrong, don't think of things when you're traveling or especially on a bike, that's really exciting, as grocery stores. And I'm speaking from my own experience, programmed to think when you're away from home on a trip,
Yeah,
restaurants. But you don't
yeah.
have, and there are so many restaurants, right? But you're telling me there are so many grocery stores. There
There's
are,
always a grocery store, and it's so much more fun because the grocery store has anything I want, and I can just go and pick it up. I don't have to ask somebody. I don't have to say, well, I can't have this, and I can't have this, and I can't have this, and I can't have this. Or ordering this and say, yeah, but don't put that on, don't put that on it, don't put that on it. I mean, I just don't see what's pleasurable about that. I would rather go to the hotel room, have a nice shower, put my jammies on, and get out all my stuff. I mean, in the hotel room, there's a refrigerator. We always, if we can, make sure that there's a refrigerator and a microwave in the room, because Steven still likes his food heated up. And we also carry a rice cooker and a collapsible hot pot. And he loves this vegetable soup that I make for him, which is just a bunch of cut up vegetables, and you can throw a can of no salt beans in it. And you can, he'll usually do some noodles, the, the ramen, brown rice and millet noodles. He loves those, or something to that effect. Even the udon noodles that are pretty much cooked anyways, he just has to heat them up. So he makes all kinds. We make good things, but it's very simple ingredients. One ingredient,
like,
and
banana is just banana.
yeah.
Apple is just an
An
apple, right?
apple, a zucchini, an onion, a garlic, a carrot, a potato. Oh my gosh. And that's about all you can have, is that or some of that for your soup. And so we'll make a small rice cooker pot of that, and that will fill it. And that can be dinner. It can be the next morning's breakfast. He'll put it in a container and have it for lunch. Sometimes sometimes we'll carry a thermos depending on how long the trip is, so he could put hot food in a thermos and have it for lunch. So it's amazing what we can do, especially on e-bikes,
Yeah,
because we can
and
carry it.
so I have tried with you actually in the past to go raw, not traveling on a bike or anything. But what I found for myself, or maybe you've, I don't know, you tell me if you experienced this at first, is that I needed to eat a lot. I was eating all the time, chew, chew, because there's not a lot of calories in, you know, in the raw food, and so you have to eat a substantial amount. How do you continue to ride and make sure that you got enough before you get hungry again? Or maybe at the beginning, was it different than sensation than now? Like, how does that work?
Well, and when you first start riding like that, it's another bump where you're hungrier. But boy, after a few days, your body adjusts. And it's the same thing with eating raw. Like you, when I first ate raw, I ate so much more food, and now I don't need to. The body is an incredible mechanism, and it adjusts. And
It's a
yeah, in fact, we get sad. Well, we can't eat like we could at the beginning of the ride. So,
Oh my goodness, this is so amazing and incredible. So when you are packing some of those, you said a rice cooker and
uh
a collapsible pot, some kind of pot you
hot,
called it,
hot pot. It just
hot
boils
pot.
water. Yeah.
Boils water. Do you, so how do you fit that in these bags? Like, do you fill it with stuff? Like, because you were saying you have certain amount of space, that it's a large amount, and you put them on your bike, but is it designated as just the appliances, or do you utilize the space inside? Like, how does that work?
The bags are like drawers in a dresser for me. So each person has to figure out their own method. Then there's a log bag that goes across the back, the two big back bags. And the log bag is where I carry my kitchen.
Oh,
So, yeah, you develop your own language for how you pack. And for instance, and if it's a rainy day, my rain gear will be right up front if it isn't raining yet. If it's raining, it'll be on me. But if it's not raining, I want it very accessible. And the front bags don't have anything covering them up, or they're easy to get to. So you want to be able to get to it fast. If it's a sunny day, the rain gear goes the bottom of the left side of the bag, the big back bag, because you never know in the Northwest if the clouds are going to come up, especially crossing the mountains. So on the right big back bag are the things that I'm going to wear at night. So I won't need access to them at all during the day for the most part. So they go on the least accessible bag. On the right front bag, if it's a rainy day, my extra food that doesn't need to be cooled, in my lunch bag, that'll go on the right side of the bag, or maybe snacks. It's accessible, but it doesn't have to be as accessible. The rain gear is the most important thing on a rainy day.
yeah.
Now, on a day that's not rainy, the rain gear will go in the back, and so I can put probably, depending on the temperature, maybe a windbreaker will come off. I'll be on in the morning, and then it'll come off, and so layers will go into those front bags, either the left or the right one. So I try not to, for the front bags, I don't want to fill them because I want to have room to put things. My layers, we might stop at a garage sale and I might buy something. We might stop at a specialty store because we see something we like, a treat, a nice raw, fruity, ripe, in season peach or something. Oh my gosh, they're so good and I mean,
Oh my
we
gosh.
we've stopped at farm stands and gotten, ears of corn, and we're not we're not shy to grab anything that we want because it might be better to eat on later on that night or soon. I mean, it has to be something that we can have soon, but it's just fun being out there, and you never know what you're going to run into, so you always want to have room for any possibility.
Yeah, this is amazing. And so your reason for sharing this is to what for people?
I feel if I can travel and stay 100% plant exclusive, you can travel and do it too. Especially if you've got a car or if your modes of transportation allow you to carry things like, your Instapot. Um, when I'm doing a hub and spoke, which means this is in March, we're going to go to Santa Rosa area for a hub and spoke. So the hub is where you're staying. So for us, it's going to be an Airbnb in Windsor, right near Santa Rosa, just north of Santa Rosa. And then the spokes are, we're going to do rides out from that Airbnb, or we might even, we'll drive to the Airbnb, so we'll have a vehicle. So we might go to a start point close by, and we'll do a loop ride, and then we'll come back to the hub at night to the Airbnb. So in that case, I can carry my NutriBullet and my Vitamix, and I will, because then I could make dressings, I can make smoothies, I feel be luxurious on the bike ride.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
And
but when I'm self-contained, I have to keep it very simple because I don't
yeah,
have any tools. Yeah,
have
I will.
you, oh, go ahead, finish
Well,
up.
I will carry a cutting board, a peeler, a grater, a good knife that I'll sleeve the knife. Stephen makes these little cardboard sleeves for me so that the knife doesn't cut through anything. You certainly don't want it cutting through your bag. So I have on my phone, I have an app. It's a shopping app. You know when you go grocery shopping, but
Yeah.
you can yeah, you can title anything in there and keep lists. And I keep a list of what I want for touring that I don't want to forget. And kitchen is one of the lists. I'll have a kitchen if I'm self-contained, the kitchen if I'm hub and spoke, so I've got the car. Or if I went to Australia for 30 days and I rented a bike and I used the bicycle to go everywhere. I stayed at the Airbnb, so I needed the bicycle to go grocery shopping. And so I used my panniers to pack my clothes in for the whole month, and I rented that bike and I rode that bike everywhere, and and had
Yeah.
access to the Airbnb things. So
I
um,
actually remember when you were on that, I watched you go live or video, post videos at that time. And, that's another thing. Wouldn't you say that when you're traveling like that, you have the opportunity to experience what is that area's like, type of fruit or type of food that's different maybe than what you get at home. And that's actually another fun, positive thing that I think is trying new things all the time. And so,
you
yeah.
know
And we see,
that that is
I
so
was going to say,
interesting.
Mona says, this is so fun and positive, wonderful. Yes, it certainly is.
Thanks, Mona. But that's another interesting thing I hear people say, like the Australians would say, "Oh, we're so behind you." As far as being plant-based, a mile from where I was staying, there was a store, and it was all fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, and the things that I eat. And they didn't even have meat there. It was so cool. It was like a vegan store. And there were two of them actually, and one I really liked, so I went there the most. And yeah, I could fill up, and I did.
That's
It was
amazing.
great. Yeah.
Have you
So
ever,
people,
yeah, go ahead, finish it.
well, people tell me, it's not as easy for me because we don't have that. And I'll go. Like in Canada, they said, oh, we don't have any salt-free beans. I found them just about everywhere I went, in small towns, all over. And it's like, well, are you looking?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
didn't have
and
any
maybe,
problem.
maybe when you're not used to it, when you're starting out, you're not aware. So you think, when I go and I look, I don't see it because you're not really looking. Sometimes you get programmed to go to the same thing. Just do what you know, right? But yeah, that's wonderful to hear that you challenged that by checking it out yourself, and here you go, you found it. So, have you ever done any like where you're touring or maybe just even out on the bikes and then camp?
Oh yeah. In
Oh my
1990, we camped.
gosh.
We crossed the northern tier from our place here in Paulsville all the way to Kennebunkport, Maine, on the coast. You know, George Bush flew in the helicopter overhead, and we went by the Bush estate and saw Millie the dog. That's the only
Oh,
Bush that we saw.
that's so fun.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. New England was having a flash flooding and just huge rain that year. The whole area of New England, and we were getting so wet. All our stuff would get soaked in the night. One morning, Stephen woke up in an inch of water because we were tenting, we were camping, and yeah, those were memories, I'll tell you. But that was in 1990. That was many, many years ago when we were just riding regular bikes. We weren't vegan yet.
Oh,
Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait that year.
oh.
Uh, we finally stayed in the hotel. We were so wet, and we would take everything to the laundromat and dry everything. And 5 minutes later, we'd be completely soaked, and we were back out in the because it was just raining, raining, raining. So we said, okay, that's it. We're going to spend a night in a hotel. And we got in. We were so excited. We hung everything everywhere to dry it out, and the power went out.
Are you serious?
We just laughed. We're like, are you kidding me?
Oh my gosh, that's but those make creative, fun
Oh,
memories, and
so many
right? So
memories. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
this year you and I are both doing our first time in the bundle. There's going to be a bundle coming up soon, you guys, and we are excited. And what you're doing has to do with travel. I'm not going to give it away, but that's another reason that we wanted to share. And I'm super excited about diving into all of the information that you're sharing on there, as well as today. And I just really appreciate it. I know that it's helpful because I feel like one of these days I really want to try to do what you do. And my husband and I were traveling last year, and we had a day where we rented the e-bikes. I was so curious, right? So if it's something that you've never tried, you can rent e-bikes. We did it, and then you can see what that feels like. And my husband thought, oh, I mean, I'm not going to ever do this. And we're riding, and he goes, I like this. And then you can kind of see, or even if it's not e-bikes, whatever it is that you may have been thinking about doing, you can eat this way and be successful. And you're living proof of that. And such an inspiration to me and so many people. I just so appreciate your time to share all your tips and tricks and stories. And is there anything else that you'd like to share or talk about regarding this today?
I just want to say I'm really excited about this bundle, and I so want to tell you all about it. And but I need to wait until March. But starting in March, I plan on talking a lot about travel and how to make this work while you're traveling, and not to give up on yourself while you're traveling. That it's just old learning that convinces us. And things like going to restaurants. We're like alcoholics. We can't go into the bars and sit there and not drink when we're newbies. That at first you just got to get really good at eating this way no matter where you go. So you have to keep your environment as clean as possible, and you have to have that laser sharp
The
focus
focus, the
that
focus, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that you want to be healthy. That health is more important. And I tour with a group, and they all go out to restaurants, and they all slide down that slope. It's such a slippery slope, and it's so good. I love it because the more I watch them, the more I realize don't don't go there. Don't go there yet. And it's been going on 5 years now that I've been doing this, and I still the more I do it the way I'm doing it, the more I just want to keep doing it the way I'm doing it because it works.
Yes.
So I just hope to encourage and support all of us to be able to do this. The quality of our life is so important, and thin tastes so much more delicious than being overweight and feeling, lousy and slumpy and heavy and feeling so hopeless that no matter what I do, I mean, riding, I would take off weight while I was on the trips, the big ones. And as soon as I got home, my body was so efficient from all that travel. And now I wasn't traveling. You can't keep up that activity of riding 40, 50, 60 miles a day on a loaded bicycle. The weight would just pour back on because I didn't understand calorie density.
Yeah.
And so I as soon as I started eating like I thought normal people would eat, but just back on processed foods and meat, animal products,
Yeah.
it just, the weight would just come right back on. So now when I come home and I stay with my low calorie density food, my weight doesn't change. I can maintain this 90-pound weight loss. It's a miracle. So I
That's
just want to
amazing.
encourage other
Yeah.
people too. Anybody who's
Yeah.
interested. Yeah.
Yeah, and you do, and it's true. Everything that you're saying, I too have experienced in my own way, and it really when you allow the body time to transition, whether you're traveling or at home, wherever you are, it does get easier and there's so much reward to it. I don't feel like I'm being deprived of anything. In fact, I think there's more to the quality of my life now, and I'm able to physically do more and feel good and all of those kinds of things. And, I couldn't do that. I couldn't experience life the way I'm experiencing it now when I was eating in a way that was processed and had animal proteins and all the stuff that I learned was not beneficial for me, and it's not beneficial for any of us if you ask my opinion. And so this bundle that's coming out, we're really excited to talk about it. We have to wait a bit. We have to, but there are going to be a lot of people sharing, and that's the whole point of it, right? Is to share all kinds of wonderful findings, and there's all kinds of wonderful things in it. But we will hopefully be chatting about it again together soon when we can share a little bit more. But I appreciate you guys that are on watching. I appreciate Janet being on here and being so candid and sharing everything you did. And thank you again.
Thanks for having me, Jennifer.
All right, everybody, take care. Don't forget to eat your greens and give plants a chance, and maybe try an e-bike.
Good idea.
All right, take care, everyone. Bye. Thank you, Janet.
Bye-bye.